Going forward, we have one more presentation on emerging technology, beyond backups, comprehensive cyber recovery and resilience. May I request Mr. Manoj Mittal and Mr. Kaustubh Acharekar from Rubrik on stage for this presentation.
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Kaustubh, and I manage the West business for Rubrik. Alongside me, I have Manoj, who takes care of all the technical discussions for Rubrik. And today we are here to talk about a really important topic, which is around beyond backups and cyber recovery and resilience. I have heard all the presentations, the discussions that have happened, and there's a lot of focus on preventing attacks from happening, right? But there is an equal importance to also have cyber resilience and cyber recovery discussions in place because that's your last line of defense, and that's where we as Rubrik we are here in IBA to talk about cyber resiliency and recovery. So why are we talking about cyber resiliency and recovery today? Firstly, what we are seeing is, be it banking, NBFCs, or different organizations, different markets around the globe, we have built really, really robust walls in terms of perimeter security, network security, application, endpoint, identity. So what is happening is, while we have all these walls which we have developed in our organization, still attackers are able to get in and try. It can be either through a compromised identity, or it can be either through any of the means that they get inside, right? Insider threats is also one such thing which is happening today. What we are seeing is, even though we have all these walls of preventive security, attackers still get in and are able to compromise your data. What is then the plan to recover from that particular stage? We have seen so many organizations today facing the wrath of ransomware attacks. Once the attack happens, the plan to recover is something which we have seen most of the organizations struggling. That's why what we have seen is 75% of companies which were infected by a ransomware attack had all the latest and greatest endpoint and all the network protection in place. And 73% of those had encrypted and deleted backups. Most of these attackers, they know that backup is the only last line of defense for all organizations. What they'll try to do is, once they are inside, the first thing that they'll try to attack is your backup infrastructure. And once your last line of defense is being breached, then there is no other option but to pay heed to the ransomware attackers, right? Either through a ransom, or there would be a lot of repercussions that most of the organizations go through. Talking about few numbers here, because we are in IBA today and we have all the banks here, it's good to talk about numbers. Few things that I wanted to clearly call out in this particular slide. There are a lot of numbers here, but the one thing that I wanted to specifically call out is the average number of ransom paid by organizations. It's close to $1.54 million. That is what every organization is paying at an average globally. And the second number is around 24% of companies. They are taking anywhere between 1 to 6 months to completely recover from a ransomware attack. Let's put that number a bit into perspective. If our bank is not able to operate at its full capacity for a month, a quarter, or 6 months, what would that impact would have to the business? Not as a bank, but to our Indian economy as well, right? So that's where it's really, really important to have a very robust plan that I have all the preventive security in place, but if I get a ransomware attack, I also have a very robust plan to recover. Right? And what we are seeing is data and backups are targets. Attackers know this really well. And what we have seen is 93% of organizations are reporting malicious actors which are attempting to impact data backups. And 73% of those efforts are at least successful. One such example is a VM encryption attack that we are seeing today. Most of our security infrastructure, our backup infrastructure, all of these things are virtualized. Attackers know that really well. What they do is they come in and attack at the EXXI layer or your virtualization layer itself, bringing down your entire security infrastructure, your backup infrastructure. right? And that's what we are seeing happening very, very at a rapid pace here in India as well as globally. So that's where what we need to think about is beyond backups and recovery. Backups and recovery was traditionally always about low frequency, high impact events. Like there would be a flood, or there would be any kind of a natural calamity, or my DC goes down. I need to have my data back. I would want to have a tape out so that I have an offsite location. But ransomware attacks today are the high frequency, high impact events that we see. So just having a safe copy or an offsite copy is not enough. Even if you have your backup copies today, the questions that comes into picture is, firstly, are we even in a position to recover even if we have our backup copies in place? Is my backup infrastructure ready to defend or itself being impacted in a ransomware event? Secondly, what exactly should I recover? I have a set of my backup copies available with me, but which particular point in time should I return back to? If I recover back to my yesterday's data, the patient zero file is already sitting on those systems for last 10-15 days, and there is a complete chance of getting reinfected, right? The second point is about what should exactly you should recover, and then what was stolen. When there is a double extortion or any kind of attacks that happen which steals your data or encrypts your data, we do not have any visibility on which particular type of data has been impacted. Is that my PCI data? Is it my PII data? Is it my credit card information, my customer information? What exactly has been impacted? What has been exfiltrated or being deleted? So that's another problem which most of the organization face, which we like to call as a blast radius of the attack. Right? The fourth point is about when to recover to. Which point in time should I recover back? Do I have a confidence that if I recover back to this particular point in time, I'll not get reinfected? So, and whenever we have spoken to or companies who have faced such ransomware attacks, most of the CISOs have an approach of isolating the environment, scanning those backups manually, finding the clean recovery point, and moving on. And that itself takes months of time, especially at the scale that most of you guys are operating in today. And finally, how long would it take? Are we even in a position to say that 24 hours downtime or a 2 days downtime or a week's downtime is okay for a bank? I don't think so, right? So how can I ensure that I automate my recovery so that I am prepared for the D-Day? And when it's basically, we call it as peacetime, we want to ensure that we prove our capability to recover. One of our customers, what they are doing very innovatively is seeing the top 5 trends, the ransomware trends which are happening in India, and then based on that, they are testing their capability to recover. So that when that actual day happens, like Terence mentioned, right, that it's not about if, but when, right? So when that D-Day happens, you have a guided capability to recover. So with that, I want to hand it over to Manoj, who would talk more in detail about what exactly are we doing in the cyber recovery and resilience.
Thanks, Kaustubh. Hello, everyone. So you just heard Kaustubh talk about what it takes to give you a comprehensive cyber recovery and resilience. We are all focused on doing all of these things on the prevention side of things, right? Now, what our vision is like, while data security is paramount, right, where you are able to make sure that the data is recoverable, but at most what we are thinking is, okay, is it on tape so that we get a physical air gap, or is it immutable, right? So that's what we are thinking. But data security doesn't end there, right? So that's what the number one point is. You have to make sure that the data that is sitting on backups is also adhered to zero trust data security solutions. Now, once that is addressed, then the next thing that you need to think about is how quickly you can basically recover from that data, right? So that your business is not down for long. And that's where the offerings, right, which basically helps you get insights into your data using your backups, which basically are, how do you identify that there has been an encryption event in your environment using encryption detection? Has there been any sensitive data exfiltration, right? Now, the best way to figure out is, if the data is encrypted by the bad actors, what that means is that data is probably exfiltrated. Now, if that data exfiltration has happened and it's like a sensitive data, What that means is they can basically like extort ransom from you just on the basis of sensitive data exfiltration. So what you need to do is, like during peacetime, you need to have visibility into this sensitive data so that you can contain access to that. Then you need to apply threat hunting to the same, right? Backup data is a gold mine. It has so many versions of copies available with it, right? On the production, if you're doing threat hunting, you probably are making your production clean. But say, for example, 5 days or 1 month down the line, somebody recovers a backup, which is malware in it, it basically starts happening again. So you need to ensure that your backup data gives you the capability to pinpoint the exact clean snapshot that you can recover from. So that's where threat hunting comes into play. And last but not the least, and more people are centered on infrastructure level recovery. But what we want to tell you is that more and more people want to do application centric recovery, right? And they want to automate all of those things. You don't want to basically start doing the process that, okay, if I'm hit by something, then this is what I'm going to do, right? You need to have that whole steps predefined as a blueprint so that you can just go and just click and like one click recovery and it's all done, right? You can just test it and then all of this is done. So let's just quickly see, right, how Rubrik ensures a complete zero trust data security. Rubrik using his Rubrik data vault in a bunker in a box solution. Now, I said immutability is not enough, because immutability doesn't mean that data cannot be deleted. Data can be expired even if the data is immutable, because data has to expire once its life cycle is over. So you need to ensure that the backup product that you're investing in gives you controls at every layer to ensure that nobody can expire the data prematurely, not just basically modify the data, right? So that's where you need to have a solution which basically gives you a natively immutable file system, right? It doesn't allow any third-party applications to be installed. It gives you end-to-end encryption without having any need to configure it. It should be natively encrypted. Then everything that gets into that application, anybody that gets into that application has to basically be enforced using an MFA, be it local users, be it SSO users. Any user that have access to the Rubrik application have to be enforced using multi-factor authentication. Last but not the least, NTP is a very, very common attack vector. And most of the products depend on NTP for data expiration. So you need a product which doesn't depend on NTP for data expiration, because if your NTP is compromised, highly likely they will expire your backups, no matter what controls you have put in. So that's where Rubrik uses a monotonic clock, which is like internal code clock, to ensure that your data is prevented against NTP expiration. Now I'll just like quickly glance through all of these capabilities that I talked about, right, and how we actually do it better, right? So first thing is anomaly detection, which basically gives you idea into your blast radius. So very, very quickly, using at the UI from your backup data, you'll be able to identify how many systems have been affected, how many systems are actually encrypted to the level of file level detail. And also we give you on the UI itself that what kind of encryption or what kind of malware might have encrypted the files, right? Last but not the least on this particular concept is that you would be able to just do a single click recovery to the last known good state of the files, right? You don't have to spend any time finding out what are the unencrypted files or what are the last good files, right? That's basically something which is very, very time taking. We have applied the same concept. Last 1 year or 2 years, we have seen that encryption is not just targeting files. It's basically 70 to 80% of encryptions are actually targeting the VMDKs itself or the virtual machine files itself, right? So if that happens, then like your complete applications are gone, like just like that. So we are the only vendor right now who can actually do VM level encryption detection. So if you are encrypted by, if your VMDKs are encrypted, so we will be able to tell you very, very quickly that yes, you are affected by VM level encryption detection. Using your familiar, a lot of CISOs sitting here, they all know, right? The YARA rules, file hashes, file patterns, not depending on a third-party antivirus software, right? And this familiar interface, you can just basically feed in your YARA rules, right? And run all your YARA scans against the complete backup history to give you a pinpoint location of which particular snapshot is a good snapshot to recover from, and do capabilities like threat containment, which will help you just make sure that you're not inadvertently recovering back the infected snapshot. Right, and that's where threat monitoring comes in. Even before like your like malware has detonated, this gives you the capability to identify like which particular malware might have affected your environment. Right, so you can very very quickly go and take actions based on that. Right, to prevent sensitive data exfiltration. Right, you get capability using the backup data to write your own analyzers, use predefined analyzers to quickly find out where your sensitive data lives, who has access to it. Right, so that you can take actions to contain access to the sensitive data. All of this gelled inside a data security command center, which gives you how you have configured your system, right, where you are lacking, where you should invest in, and then contain the threat, and then last but not the least, how you would recover very very quickly, right, using concepts like live mount, which is like immediately zero downtime or zero time recovery, continuous data protection so that you get sub-zero RPOs, right? And then bulk recovery of like any data that you have. All in all, this basically just ties to the Rubrik cyber recovery, which basically allows you to create blueprints and then just make sure that you have a single click recovery available. We also integrate with so many security ecosystems integrations so that you can basically take advantage of all your investments. Last but not the least, don't back up, go forward. We are at the booth. Please come visit us. We'll be happy to do a deep dive demo and also take giveaways and stand a chance to win some goodies. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. May I request Sri Rao sir to present a memento to Mr. Mittal and Mr. Acharekar.